This is Speak of the Devils on AZ Family Sports.
Welcome to Speak of the Devils, the premier TV show for Sun Devil football. I'm Brad Denny with 3TV.
And I'm Joe Healey with DevilsDigest.com.
Joe, we are back here on Arizona's Family Sports Network. Season 3 of Speak of the Devils. We are going to be with you each and every Thursday now through hopefully a long playoff run for the Devils at the start of the new year. But man, fall camp's in full swing. The team is back down from Camp Tonizona. It's good that football is back.
Folks, get used to our voices, get used to our faces. We thank you all for tuning in once again as we kick off Season 3 here on your television sets. It's an exciting time to be a Sun Devil. Expectations are sky high, and things are about to kick off here in under 2 weeks, just about 2 weeks for Arizona State.
So we're going to get you caught up on what's been happening with Arizona State's fall camp, but something really cool that we want to help get the word out for. So, of course, throughout ASU's history, there's been a lot of very memorable games. And over here at Arizona's Family, we got a really cool thing going on where if you want to see some classic Arizona State games, you can head over to azfamily.com/classic and vote among 17 classic games, going as far back as the 1987 Rose Bowl win over Michigan up till just a couple of years ago, where Cam Scadaboo was doing some special stuff. Now, the top 5 games of that list of 17 that win the voting, they'll be airing on this very network, Arizona's Family Sports Network, the week of August 25th. And these are games, not just like clip, in the entirety. You'll see the entire game. There's some territorial cup matchups, mentioned a Rose Bowl in there, some games from that magical 96 season. So it's a good time to be a Devil.
Yeah, what an awesome thing this is. This is a dream for Sun Devil fans to get to relive some of the best memories and moments that you've ever experienced as a Sun Devil fan. So do as Brad told you, get out there and vote and watch all those games. Get fired up for the 2025 season kickoff.
All right, Joe. So let's dive into some of the key developments throughout spring. Now, we know Sam Levitt's good at quarterback. He's doing some good things in fall camp. The line in front of him, there's suddenly a question mark. You know, ASU brought back 4 starters from a season ago, but now all of a sudden they might be reshuffling a little bit, or maybe unshuffling could be a better term, because Ben Coleman, who moved from left guard, he was excellent there a season ago, they moved him to center in spring. There have been some snapping issues. And so in the last couple of days, we've seen Ben slide back to left guard, and Iowa State transfer Wade Helton has taken some first-team reps at center. Now, on an offense with so many returning faces and so many stars, obviously it all starts in the trenches. So could be an interesting situation to monitor over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, and Ben Coleman is a very talented lineman. I believe he's ASU's most experienced lineman and all-conference honors recipient last year. But it is an underrated thing to make that move from guard to center. It might seem simple to snap a football, basically hand it to the quarterback. No. There is a lot of skill that's involved in that, so that takes a lot of repetition. That's going to be a position group right now that's really skyrocketing to the top of the chart as far as the position that ASU fans really going to keep a close eye on for the remaining sessions of fall camp until we get to that opener.
Obviously, you mentioned at quarterback, no concerns there. Running back was also an area of intrigue, not so much of concern, but how are they going to replace Cam Scadaboo and his wild production? Right now, it looks like there's going to be a by committee approach, I think, led by Kyson Brown, the junior. He's looked really good in terms of a guy who could potentially carry the load, but probably doesn't have to. Kanye Udo and Raleek Brown have looked very good so far in fall camp, and we've even seen some packages where multiple backs are out there on the field. So if you're offensive coordinator or Marcus Arroyo, you got to be having some pretty some fun ideas, in terms of how to use these weapons.
Yeah, there are few players across the country who are being tasked with replacing bigger shoes than Kyson Brown. Of course, Cam Scadaboo moving on to the NFL, but Kyson Brown seems up to the job, and ASU has that group ready to roll. We'll see if it's that by committee sort of thing. We haven't seen that much in recent years, but this group seems about as ready as any that ASU has had in recent seasons to be able to do that sort of by committee thing.
Now, wide receiver, we know they have one of the best in the country in Jordan Tyson. It seems like, though, there's been a clear top 4 throughout camp with Jordan Tyson, Jalen Moss in the slot, Malik McClain outside as the starters, but Jaren Hamilton, Joe, he's been so impressive. You'll hear from him in the next segment. Had some big plays in the Camp Tonizona scrimmage. just on a daily basis is having some big plays as well. The Alabama transfer looks like he's going to be a difference maker this fall.
Yeah, Hamilton, man, ASU loses that downfield burner and Xavier Guillory. Think about all the long touchdowns he had last year. Man, if Hamilton can fill those shoes, that would be an incredible thing to add some dynamic, potent playmaking ability to the Sun Devil offense.
All right, let's talk a little bit of defense. Starting up front and with that defensive line, obviously the pass rush is something that we've identified has been an area that can improve over a defense that was pretty solid last fall. And I think right now you're looking at a very veteran line, but Justin Wodtly has been super impressive so far. He's trimmed down to 260 pounds. He's playing pretty much edge full time. And the nephew of Hall of Famer Troy Polamalu is looking like he's going to be terrorizing Big 12 quarterbacks.
Get to the quarterback. That is my challenge to the Sun Devil defense, especially the defensive line. Justin Wodtly, if you want to be the guy to do it above them all, fine by me.
And another breakout performer so far on the defense now with starters Xavier Alford and Ghost Rouser nursing some minor injuries, and they've since kind of gotten back in the flow of things. Wazoo transfer Boogie Wilson has been making a difference. He has been an interception machine. Looks like ASU is going to be having some really good depth at safety.
Yeah, they've got a lot of bodies out there. You got to replace Jamari Simmons at the nickelback position, but ASU seems ready to do so, especially with Alford and Ghost Rouser having the years they had last year. Look for them to build on that.
Of course, Montana Warren is another safety on that in that secondary that I think is having a pretty strong fall camp. So that could be potentially your two deep there at that position. But after the break, you're going to hear from a couple of those standout performers. We're going to be talking to defensive end Justin Wodtly and wide receiver Jaren Hamilton. Year two here at Camp T. Now that you kind of knew what to expect, coming up here in the Pines, how's this year kind of compared to the first experience?
Man, the first year was all about knowing the lay of the land, not knowing where I was going to be at, man. This year was more so just focusing on the work, man. I knew exactly what it was going to be like. I knew everything to expect, man. So just coming out here, enjoying the time with the guys and putting in good work.
How do you feel the team has responded this year? Obviously, so many familiar faces, with a dash of newcomers, but just kind of, a lot of the similar cast coming up here to bond again.
Yeah, definitely, man. I feel like us this year, we're really focused on just not being complacent, man. Things tend to get tedious at this part of fall camp, man, and it's boring and days get really long, but, it's just all about, like Coach Dillingham says, focusing on the little things, man. So if we come out here and just do, step by step, cross all your boxes off each and every day, man, I feel like the rest really take care of itself.
A lot of discussion about each player kind of, discovering their why, sharing it with the teammates. What's your why?
My why is I feel like Coach Dillingham and this staff really gave me a second chance, so I feel like I owe it to them, to come out here every day and give everything that I have, man. I feel like when I entered the transfer portal, I didn't know what my future looked like. I didn't know anything about the state of Arizona or the school, man. So coming out here and them taking a chance on me and believing in me and knowing that I can be the player that I can be, man, I feel like that's a big part of my why, and family as well, man. Just being able to make the people that care about me proud, that's really special, and it means a lot to me.
So first day of full live tackling and team sessions, how do you feel the team responded and some of your takeaways from the 11 on 11?
We got to do way better, especially our room, man. A lot of missed tackles, a lot of MAs and stuff like that, but being able to come out here and practice, this is what practice for, man. Everything's not going to be perfect every day, man. The offense had a really good day against us today, man, and it's about how we respond, man. How are we going to bounce back to not having the greatest day, man? So I feel like us as a defense, we're gonna get better at tackling. We're gonna get better at rallying to the ball and things like that. So for our first day, wasn't too bad, but there's a lot of improvements that need to be made.
Of course, you're down to about 260 coming into camp this year. You're seeing time pretty much at end now. What was the thought process behind that move, that transition? Kind of, what was it like to kind of shed those pounds yet still remain strong?
Man, I knew last year when I came out here, I had no idea about the heat or how serious it was going to get, man. So this year I really attacked hydration and being in shape and stuff like that, man. And I feel way better this year. I'm not cramping as much. I'm being able to finish practices and stuff like that, man. So just focusing on that part of it, man. Just the regimen, the things that will keep me good enough to be out here and performing my best for my teammates.
of course, you're part of a very veteran, very familiar group of defensive linemen. What is that continuity, that roster retention, going to do for this defensive line this year?
Man, it's going to be really special, man. I feel like we're making Coach Reynolds' job real easy. He can close his eyes and just point to whoever you want to send on the field, man. But I feel like it's all healthy competition too, man. We know that there's only 4 D linemen on the field at one time, but everybody is pushing everybody to be the best that they can be because we know it's only going to elevate our room, man. We got a 2 deep full of seniors, man. So how are we going to leave this program in good hands, man? So I feel like that's what we really focus on in our room, to basically just leave this place better than we found it.
You kind of mentioned, Coach Reynolds having the ability to just, if you wanted to, just pick anybody out there. And we saw Kangaika getting some reps at D end and Prince sliding inside. What does it say to us, the overall, and of course, you can play both in and out, the overall level of versatility and what it can bring to this defense?
There's no more one man that can do it all, man. So now I got a couple guys that now it's made an emphasis in our room that everybody knows every position, because you never know what happens across the course of a season, man. We got a couple D tackles banged up or whatever the case may be, but we know that if I got to go out there, Anthony Cooper, Jacob Kangaika, we can plug you in at any part of this D-line and the wheels are still going to be rolling, man. So just making an emphasis of everybody knowing everything, I feel like it's just going to elevate our room.
All right, so big performance there at the end of the Camp T scrimmage. What was it like as, kind of the defense maybe controlling a little bit for most of the day, but you guys were able to get in that 2-minute drill and really kind of break out at the end?
I'd say really just sticking to it. It's a lot of stuff we still got to go out there and work on. So regardless of what's going on throughout the day, we still stick to our script and, we just do what we do.
What's some of the things that maybe change, when you guys go into a 2-minute situation that perhaps maybe allows for a little bit more of a flow?
I would just say our confidence. Just our confidence that we know we can make these plays. Our confidence that, people going to block and we all just do our job. So that is starting up front, the O-line blocking and just trusting, like our wide outs and tight ends to just go down there and make a play.
Kenny mentioned that, since spring, you've really felt more comfortable just being yourself, and that's really been able to translate to on-the-field success. What's it been like that has allowed that comfort level to grow over the last couple months?
Just being around the facility, being around the guys, talking with the coaching staff, going through things not just once, but twice, even 3 times. Anything you have to do to get comfortable and overlearn something, that's what I've been doing. Getting on the whiteboard, just talking through plays, walking through stuff, all that has allowed me just to go out there and play faster.
Obviously, you guys are going against a pretty good defense day in and day out. What's it like just going against this group of defensive backs, and how that helps kind of raise your own game?
It's great. You love to go out there and compete. Iron sharpens iron, and when we go out there, we know it's not going to be easy, and we don't expect them to give us none. And that's just how it's going to be. Like in the season, we don't expect the defense just to lay down. So when we go out there and work, it's just making all us better at the end of the day.
So when you look back at the Camp T experience, what are some of your favorite memories? Your first time up in the Pines.
Honestly, going to the waterfall and seeing just how peaceful it was out there. Just being in nature, not around society. Being out there really was just relaxing, and it just helped clear your mind and get away from everything.
What was it like seeing about 4,000 ASU fans and make the trek to the middle of nowhere to watch you guys play?
Oh yeah, I loved it. People coming out supporting us, that's always a good thing. Just seeing them, it just brings the best out of all of us. When I see the fans get hyped, they get into it. If we feed off of that, we just go out there and perform.
A couple weeks left before the opener. What are some of the things you feel this offense needs to get accomplished to make sure you guys feel ready to go against NAU?
I can feel like any offense can always be closer. We can find more glue within each other, and that just comes from coming out here, working hard every day, trusting and believing in one another, and through that, I feel like we can all gel and be closer and just get to our goals.
Welcome back to Speak of the Devils. Zyrus Fiaseu got last season started on a great foot with a pick 6 on the second play of the season. After a recent practice, I caught up with Zyrus to talk about his growth in the defensive scheme, how the linebackers became a true team strength, and his joy that he gets from a hard hit. All right, so you've been making a lot of loud plays in fall camp, some big hits. What's your favorite part of delivering a big hit on a ball carrier?
Honestly, just making the play, to be honest. Can't ask for a better play call from the coaches. Can't ask for my teammates to do anything but their job. And once it comes my opportunity to make a play, just like everybody else, I'll do it.
How do you feel like the linebacker group as a whole has been progressing through fall camp?
They've been doing real good. Also the vets doing a real good job, just staying on top of and getting better at things that we know we got to fix. And the younger guys for really learning from us and taking a step forward instead of staying back, away from everybody.
Coach Ward often says that, year 2 in the defense is like when the players kind of understand the why. Top 3 guys in that room with, kind of in your second year in the system. Have you seen kind of a greater comfort and kind of understanding the why as opposed to the kind of year 1?
Yeah, for sure. Last year was all about kind of learning and finding my footing. And this year, I know what I'm supposed to do, like the back of my hand. So I feel a lot more comfortable, just like every other player does in this defense, and I feel a lot better this year too than I did last year.
So when you look back at the spring practices, when you look, what were some things that you kind of took away from your performance in spring that you were wanted to focus on in the off season to get ready for this upcoming season?
Yeah, I just got to keep doing the little things better. I still got to fix my run fits. I still got to get better at tackling. I still got a lot of things to fix, but that's the good thing about practice is I can come over here and practice those things. So.
And of course, second time at Camp T, what were some of your favorite experiences now that you got to, experience the camp, the brotherhood, the bonding, and everything in the Pines?
Yeah, it's beautiful out there, just to get away from our phones for the most part and just to be with each other and to find comfort in each other's presences, It's beautiful to just really enjoy outdoors. Everyday life, we're out here just on our phones when we go home and just scrolling on Instagram and TikTok, but for us to go over there and actually just hang out with each other 24/7, it was amazing to see.
So of course, you guys are going up against a pretty talented offense day in, day out, and kind of what is that kind of like iron sharpens iron, like for you guys with both sides of the ball facing off against a pretty formidable opponent?
It's actually really good. You need that. It's just like when you're sparring, when you're boxing. The better fighter you have, the more you see better moves, the quicker you see it. And so it's just like that in football. We see a really good opponent, and it's like if we see the best offense every day, day in and day out, it's going to be better for us when we play other offenses.
So of course, the top 3 guys in that linebacker room, all veterans. But who are some of the younger guys, some younger backers that have really kind of impressed you so far?
I wouldn't say it's just us top 3 because I really say the whole group is doing, real good. All the young guys, Isaiah's make big steps forward from spring ball, and it's good to see Bacon and Puka making their trips up, taking steps forward. Prayer's doing real good, and us older guys, we're just doing our thing.
As one of those vets, what are some of the things that you've maybe seen yourself in kind of a leadership role and kind of being the veteran to pass on the wisdom?
Yeah, it's really just to the young guys, because we got more vets than we do young guys. And so, whenever they need help, I'm going to give it. Whenever, they're struggling with something, I'll give them what I know. And for us vets, it's just, we're all older, so it's like, what I'm saying? Like, we know what's supposed to happen. And, we hold each other accountable. Our coach doesn't have to do it too much this year as he usually does, as he did last year. So it's just good to be part of a vet group.
Of course, you guys have a pretty cool nickname as the Werewolves.
Yeah.
What does being a werewolf mean to you?
Yeah, what being a werewolf means to me is really just learning how to not say flip a switch because we're always ready, but I'll say, Coach Coop preaches all the time, you got to be a great person off the field. That's one of our team mottos, is being a good person off the field. And when you get on that field, they better see a whole different side of you. They better see not so nice person. You know what I'm saying? So, I really just think it's being a great person off the field, being a gentleman, going on the field, and being a psychopath.
What do you want to show this, as the group of linebackers? What do you guys want to accomplish over these next couple of weeks to make sure you're ready to go against NAU to start the season?
Really just being our best versions of ourselves, because us being our best version will help the defense out. If we make the right calls 24/7, if we make the right moves 24/7, our D-line will do what they do, and, they're doing a great job, and our back end will just cover us like they usually do.
Welcome back to Speak of the Devils. Now, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about some preseason rankings. Now, Joe, it's been a few years since ASU was even worthy of inclusion in the AP preseason poll, but man, it's good to see them coming in, and I think a little bit higher than I expected. They ended the year number 7 in the final AP rankings, and we talked about how kind of maybe the national narrative is maybe a little overblown in terms of just the impact of losing Cam Scadaboo, but number 11 isn't too bad.
Yeah, no, that's a great spot for ASU. So it's the first time since 2021 that the Sun Devils are ranked in the preseason AP poll. You got to go back all the way to 1998 to find a preseason AP poll in which ASU was ranked higher than they are in this year's. ASU was ranked 8th in the country to start 1998. Now, Sun Devil fans everywhere hoping that 2025 goes better than 1998. Ended up being a losing season for the Devils. But yeah, I mean, I can't really think of a realistic scenario where ASU would have been ranked higher than 11th. There's been a lot of narratives that have been going on. So there are some folks across the country that think ASU is really going to slip. There are some that are really high on them to become, a repeat participant in the college football playoff. So that number 11 spot, that's a good one, highest in the Big 12. So just by virtue of that selection, a lot of folks out there probably think the ASU is a very strong candidate to repeat as Big 12 champion.
It's very interesting because, as you tweeted out recently, ASU, of course, opens up on the 30th against FCS opponent NAU, but kind of basically how the national schedule breaks out. If the Devils take care of business, there could be a situation where they're quickly in the top 10, and maybe depending on how some dominoes fall with their Big 12 opener opponent Baylor just near the top of the also receiving votes, we could have a highly ranked ASU road trip against a ranked Baylor team to kick off Big 12 play, that'd be a hell of a game.
Yeah, that first full weekend of games that ASU plays on the 30th. There are 3 games that weekend featuring top 10 teams against one another. So just by process of elimination, you're going to get some that are going to fall a little bit. So ASU, you get a win over NAU, you might see yourself jump up a few spots in the poll, which is not always the case in the early season.
All right. So before, as we close out this episode, let's talk about some of the week 2 winners of ASU's fall camp. We talked about safety Boogie Wilson being interception machine and wide receiver Jaren Hamilton. Y'all heard from him earlier. Just a really explosive playmaker. Justin Wodtly, of course, as being a really disruptive presence on that line. A line that, of course, returns Clayton Smith and Prince Dorba. But, to have Wodtly be that difference maker, I think is going to be something that I think is kind of an X factor in elevating this Sun Devil defense to another level.
Yeah, you got to get some quality there. The depth helps as well.
And then a true freshman linebacker, Isaiah Iosefa. I've been really impressed with him. Obviously, it's a veteran linebacker group led by Jordan Crook, Keyshawn Elliott, Zyrus Fiaseu. But Iosefa has just shown some explosiveness. Now, I don't expect him necessarily to be getting some important game day reps, barring injury. But I think for position coach AJ Cooper, guys like Iosefa and Martell Hughes are going to lay a pretty good foundation for 26 and beyond.
Yeah, these sort of performances are very important. I believe ASU's top 3 linebackers are all seniors. So when you get to this point next year, going to have to have some new guys in the fold. So even if he's not a huge factor on the field this year, having these sort of experiences to build his confidence could provide dividends down the road.
And then Kyson Brown, I thought, continued to look the part of a running back one. But Joe, of course, as we're now heading into the home stretch of fall camp, just a couple weeks away from the opener, who's a guy or two that you're looking at as maybe a guy who needs to make his mark if he's going to have an impact on this season?
I'll just say the center position as a whole for Arizona State, because that is really one, that has emerged as an area of need. I'm going to focus intently on that one. That's my answer.
Yeah, our guy Ben Coleman is a very talented lineman. Kenny Dillingham said we're just trying to find our best 5, and he made clear that our best 5 is going to include Ben. It's just a matter of whether it's at center or left guard. So we know that football and success in the game all starts up front. So we'll be definitely keeping a close eye on that. And as we mentioned off the top, we're going to be with you each and every week through the rest of the season. And next week, you will definitely want to tune in here on Arizona's Family Sports Network as we bring you our season preview and predictions.